or even 50% of the time in the case of the Premier League. But obviously it's impossible to actually be emotionless. These are still people. These are still men and women that are going to have interactions with players and managers, and players and managers might say something to them that they find derogatory. They may say something to a referee that just even slightly irks them just a little bit. They may just clash as individuals, even though they're not supposed to. You can't really help that, like, unless you completely automate every decision ever, which isn't possible. There's always going to be a slight bit of emotion, I guess, in the heat of any moment. It's just up to the referee to have a level head and be able to deal with any situation as best as they can. The problem is, though, whatever that moment is should, at very best, it shouldn't really happen at all, but at very best should remain in the moment. I think if David Coote during this video had said Jurgen Klopp had been a dickhead, can't say that on YouTube, sorry lads, and it had felt like he'd got over it, you know, it was just an incident that had happened, experience as a referee with a manager, not talking about him and his actual character, we'd be having a very different, like, conversation. It wouldn't be ideal. He definitely should have still not allowed himself to be filmed saying that, but at least it would have come across as, you know, well, he was a bit of a dickhead that day, but, you know, it's been calm, not had any issues since, and it wouldn't question his integrity at all. The fact that in the video he still very much thinks that Jurgen is a dickhead, probably a year later, in which one of these decisions had actually happened that he'd been involved in that I mentioned earlier, being Jordan Pickford versus Virgil van Dijk. It shows animosity. He was still remaining in a feeling of contempt up to the point this video was taken. And maybe even still to this point, to this day, he doesn't really like Liverpool. He doesn't like Scousers, as was said at the end of the video as well, let alone Jurgen Klopp. And the problem is that could have affected judgment in Liverpool games moving forward.